Hi. Okay, so this should work now. As soon as Christina gets on, I will be able to add her and we can get this going. I apologize, you guys. This is crazy. I am trying to pull up some stuff on my laptop. Christina, when you're on, I will get you added. Let's see, you in? Jamie's here. Hi, Jamie. Casey, are you on yet? There's Christina, approve. All right.
Yay! Got it! Oh, wow, that was fun. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for being patient with us while we try to figure this out.
Yeah, that was confusing. Sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining. I see that there's 4 people on so far. I think 2 of that is us, but so this is our first video in our 4 series, our 4 live video streams in the series. We decided to do this instead of, since we can't meet at the hospital and the weather's getting cold, we decided to go ahead and just do some recordings instead. And so since we can live stream in our private group and it records the video that way, that's kind of perfect for everybody who can't watch live. So hopefully this goes well and it records. And if you aren't watching live right now, then you can go back and listen to the video. So this first, I know it's only October, but this kind of starts the snowball of holidays that are coming up. So usually this is a good time to start talking about how to prepare for the holidays, because whether this is your first set of holidays after your child died, or if this is 10 years down the road, it's still hard. So anyways, we wanted to offer some advice. I'm on year 3 now, I guess, after my son Mason died. So we'll just give you some tips about how to kind of cope with that and how to move forward. So first off, I'll introduce myself. So if anybody else is still getting on, hi, I'm Christina Cunningham, and I'm the chapter leader for our Boise chapter of the Compassionate Friends, which is a nationwide grief support group for child loss. And we have been meeting in Boise at the St. Luke's Hospital until COVID hit. And then we did a couple of meetings outside the hospital. We did our balloon release back in September. And we're just going to do a 4-part series of how to get through the holidays. And then come 2021, hopefully we can find a way to either meet again or start meeting outside once it gets warmer, or maybe we'll just do some more videos for a while. So in the meantime, though, there are plenty of resources and people that you can talk to, whether it be in chat rooms from the national website or other private groups. There are very specific private groups that you can get involved in, like if your child was under a certain age or over a certain age, if it was your only child that you lost, that kind of thing. There's a bunch of different private groups out there. And then also we have a couple messenger groups and phone numbers from people that you can call and talk to. Lots of stuff, even some Zoom meetings that are out of state, but you can actually still request to be part of their Zoom group. So if you need anything, please just reach out to either me or Stephanie and we can definitely get you hooked up. So first off, Stephanie's going to start by reading our Compassionate Friends Credo. And then we're going to start talking about how to prepare for the holidays.
All right. Thank you, Christina. Like she said, I'm Stephanie, and I am also in year 3 as well. So we're kind of in this club together. But this is the Compassionate Friends Credo. This is what we read at the beginning of every one of our meetings. If you can hear me, or if you can't hear me, I apologize. I'm trying. But this is the Credo. It says, We need not walk alone. We are the compassionate friends. We reach out to each other with love, with understanding, and with hope. The children we mourn have died at all ages and from many different causes, but our love for them unites us. Your pain becomes my pain, just as your hope becomes my hope. We come together from all walks of life, from many different circumstances. We are a unique family because we represent many races, creeds, and relationships. We are young. Sorry, I have to Sorry, we are young and we are old. Some of us are far along in our grief, but others still feel a grief so fresh and so intensely painful that they feel helpless and see no hope. Some of us have found our faith to be a source of strength, while some of us are struggling to find answers. Some of us are angry, filled with guilt, or in deep depression, while others radiate in inner peace. But whatever pain we bring to this gathering of the compassionate friends, it is the pain we will share, just as we share with each other our love for the children who have died. We are all seeking and struggling to build a future for ourselves, but we are committed to building a future together. We reach out to each other in love to share the pain as well as the joy, share the anger as well as the peace, share the faith as well as the doubts, and help each other to grieve as well as to grow. We need not walk alone. We are the compassionate friends.
Yeah, thank you. So we thought it would be kind of fun since we can't get together as a group and talk, that if we kind of had a conversation between the two of us, that it would be a little less, I don't know what the word is, but a little bit more relaxed and just be a conversation between the two of us. As Stephanie mentioned, she actually reached out to me after my son first died in August of 2017. Her son died in March of that same year. And so we have pretty much been going down this road together for 3 years. And so we have a lot of conversations very similar to probably what we're going to be talking about already. So I guess you'll get a little background into how we talk. But so I'm just going to start off by, I found this article and there's 10 points or 10 things that you can think about during this holiday season. So this is from an actual therapist. So her husband died right before the holidays. And so she says she experienced a wave of grief in her own after her husband passed away. Christmas music, holiday parties, and festive decorations that were meant to bring joy served as painful reminders of her loss. As it is for most people experiencing loss, the holiday season was the most painful time of all, which if this is your first holiday season, you're about to find that out. So the first pointer that she gives is trust that grief is a part of healing. So she says, time doesn't heal the pain associated with a loss. It's what you do with that time that matters. Grief is the process by which you heal. Experiencing the pain rather than constantly trying to escape it can actually help you feel better in the long term. So while it might be tempting to pretend the holidays don't exist or to numb the pain, temporarily avoiding the pain only prolongs the anguish. Eventually, holidays will get easier, but only if you allow yourself to experience the grief of going through them without your loved one. So what's your take on that, Stephanie?
So I am a natural stuffer. I like to stuff my feelings down, and that causes a whole lot of other problems. So I think recognizing, like she said, that grief is a part of healing. If we allow ourselves to feel what we feel in that moment, instead of stuffing it down, we can avoid a lot of the unnecessary pain that we're going to go through. Um, we need to feel those feelings. We are created and born to be with emotions. We need to express those and feel those. And that's how we keep going. For me, since I am a stuffer, I have had to deal with my grief in a wide range of ways, mostly health problems. You can relate to that as well.
Yeah.
Um, as we let those emotions happen and recognize them for what they are, recognize them for our grief, and realize that that's a natural process for our healing, we're in the long run, and we're going to be able to not move on, because that's not what I want to talk about, because there is no moving on from child loss, but it helps ease the pain a little better. that makes sense?
Yeah, and I think also getting through the first few holidays, it kind of sets a new, everybody says like a new normal, right? But going through the first holiday without your child and figuring out what you want to do differently, or maybe new traditions that you want to incorporate to honor them, I think that's all part of um, dealing with your grief, really. I mean, it's, you can, I think one of the things that people advise the first set of holidays is, you know, don't do them if you don't want to. Like, don't force yourself to celebrate if you don't feel like celebrating. But if you feel like you as a family want to still get together just to honor your child, then come up with some kind of new tradition, set a place for them at the table, that kind of thing. And that can help you to grieve as well. So that could be a healing process for you, instead of just completely cutting them out of your holiday because they're no longer there. Find a way to still have them be a part of you, a part of the tradition, I guess.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So, Jared and I, my husband and I, we are working on getting licensed for foster care. And we had to talk about our losses, and we had to talk about Josh a lot. And that was really hard. But something that our caseworker was talking to us about is in our generation, so us with younger children, um, it's expected that we talk about our grief. We go to counseling, we do all these things, and we talk about our losses and our grief. But like our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, um, they don't talk about their grief. It was kind of like you put your big girl panties on and you get over it.
Yeah.
Um, and that's so not healthy for us, and we've seen that. So it's good to talk about it. It's good to feel what we feel, whether we are moms or dads, and be able to express ourselves in the way that we need to get on that healing journey.
Yeah. Do you have the numbers in front of you? Do you want to read the second one?
I sure do. So that sets us up for number 2, which is set healthy boundaries. So this says, you certainly don't have to force yourself to face every holiday event or celebratory tradition. However, if attending a tree lighting ceremony or participating in the office gift swap is likely to bring about too many painful memories this year, be willing to say no. Other people may try to convince you to participate, but you certainly don't have to try to please everyone. Um, for me, that is a slap in the face because I am a people pleaser,
Yeah.
big time. I remember our first Thanksgiving after losing Joshua. Um, my husband's family wanted to do Thanksgiving at our house, and that was a big no for me. Like, no, I cannot do it. That would
Mm-hmm.
be 11, 13, to almost 13 people coming over to my house, and where I had to entertain and have lots of people in there. And I was not ready for that. And I've never said no like that before. But
Yeah.
I had to put my foot down and be like, no, this is what is going to be healthy for my family. And that even extended into Christmas. That Christmas, I didn't even put the tree up until Christmas Eve, and I only did it for the kids.
Mine was like
And
this big.
yeah, yeah. So there are things you have to set those healthy boundaries. For me, that was saying no to family, because again, my parents' generation, um, they still don't understand why we put a plate out for Joshua every day, why we put a stocking up for him. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
they would rather us pretend he didn't exist or that he never existed. And that's not the way we are dealing with our grief. So our healthy boundaries for us were to not have the big events, not have to entertain, whatever that looks like for you. It's going to be different for everybody. For me, it's keeping it low key, doing what I have to for the kids because I want them to live a normal life, but at the same point, or yeah, same time, making sure that I'm guarding my heart at the same time, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I remember my first Thanksgiving. So Mason died in August, and so a couple months after that, there was Thanksgiving, and that's a really big holiday. It's actually a bigger holiday than Christmas on my husband's side of the family, and so he has his grandmother come up from California, and everybody gets together, all of his siblings and everybody, and we showed up like normal, and it was really hard. I didn't realize how many things would be triggers. If you haven't already learned that word, It's a big one. Trust me, you'll know what your triggers are very soon if you haven't figured them out already. But going to Thanksgiving was definitely a huge trigger for me. So um, it's still hard, but you, like I said, just if you feel like you can't do it, just be okay to say no. That's fine. All right,
It's a word you'll need to learn.
yeah, I'm gonna move on. So our third point here. So focus on what you control. There are a lot of things that you can't control about the holidays. You may be subjected to Christmas music in a waiting room of your doctor's office, or you may overhear your coworkers constantly talking about their holiday plans. And while you can't prevent these things from happening, there are some things that you can control. Think about what you can do to lessen the heartache when you can. It's okay to limit your decorations or shop for presents online only. Pick a few things you can do to assert some control over the holiday cheer. And keep in mind that life goes on for other people and it's okay that they're happy to celebrate this year. Ugh, that one is hard. I hate that last sentence, that it's okay that they're happy to celebrate this year and that their life keeps going on, because that was probably the hardest part about losing Mason. Was uh, everybody else just keeps going on. I took about a month off of work and I feel like my entire life was just on hold, right? And it was kind of a blessing and a curse to go back to work, because the blessing was I was distracted during the day, but at night when I got home, like, it was back to, okay, my child's gone. But I remember like scrolling through Facebook and all the harvest parties, like this time of year, this is exactly what was happening. Everybody was going to Linder Farms and they're getting pumpkins with their kids. And like he was 19 months. So it would have been just around the time where he could like find his own pumpkin and walk around and start to do things. And it was like, oh my gosh, this really sucks. Everybody is moving on with their lives and going and doing all these cool things with their kids. And mine's not here. So, that is definitely out of our control. We can't go back in time and we can't bring our kids back. But if you want to shop online for Christmas presents instead of going to the store, by all means, do that. And I definitely have.
Yep, I agree. I think definitely focusing on what you can control, because there's lots that you can't. So I don't really have much to say. I think you hit that one on the nose. But the fourth one is to plan ahead. So often the anticipation of how hard something is going to be is worse than the actual event. So while Thanksgiving dinner may only last 2 hours, you could easily spend 3 weeks dreading it. Um, I am one of those people. I will admit that. So create a simple plan for how you'll get through the holidays to avoid extending your anguish. Often it's helpful to create an escape plan. So drive yourself to holiday functions or ride with a trusted friend who will take you home whenever you want. Just knowing you can easily leave at any time can help you enjoy the activity much more than if you would, or much more than you would if you felt stuck. Um, so yes, I am somebody that will get super anxious over something weeks in advance. And a lot of that has happened since I lost Joshua. A lot of the times I couldn't even explain why I was feeling that anxiety. But this obviously makes sense. I am stressing out over something simple, like going out in public stresses me out now. Going to the grocery store, or just the questions that I'm gonna get. Like, so I have 5 kids, but now I only have 4. And so they're like, "Oh, 4 kids, all boys. Wow." And one of
Mhm.
my kids will be like, "Actually, there's 5." And then somebody will be like, "Oh, well, where's the other one?" And then we have to explain that. And that stresses me out.
Yeah.
Um, so just to have a plan ahead of time, obviously, so you're not stressing out so much. And know that you are welcome to come and go. You do not have to stay somewhere. If you are going to a family event, you do not have to stay. It is totally acceptable for you to be like, "I'm peacing out. I'm good." Thanks.
I wanted to
Oh, we
add
have a
something.
comment,
Oh, yeah.
and I
Oh.
don't see who it's from. Oh, from Christy. It says, year 6 for us without our boy Adam, forever 24. Oh, I love his name. Holidays were hard, but we knew how much he loved every holiday. We started a new tradition of Adam's tree his friends' family. I can't read. Oh, sorry. All brought ornaments that represented their friendship and our memory of him. We love this tree, and it feels so much. He is here with us during the holidays. I love that.
Oh, that's sweet.
That is beautiful, Christy.
Yeah, one of
That
the
is
things that
beautiful.
we've done the last Christmas when we were all together as our group, our TCF group, we actually decorated ornaments for our trees um, in honor of our kids. So I like the ornament idea. That's really cool. And actually, the only tree that I have put up the last few years is, like I said, about this big, like, a foot. But, and then it's all mason ornaments. It's yellow and angel wings and Bible verses. It's all Mason related because his birthday was December 20th. And so uh, Christmas time, especially, is really hard for my family. So, but that's great. I like that idea. I wanted to bring up it's not really related to that number bullet, but it was related to what you're saying about the question of how many kids do you have. And if you are new in your grief and you haven't been asked that yet, just wait for it. It's a hard one. And so I wanted to kind of offer some advice because I think almost every time this question's brought up, everybody has some advice for people who, when they get asked that the first time. So I think a way to, I guess it's kind of related because it's plan ahead. So plan ahead what you plan on saying to somebody if you get asked that question, if you're out in public or if you're at a holiday party, for instance. Because there's times when you have the strength to answer that honestly and say, I have this many kids, but one of them is in heaven. And there's lots of different ways to say that, whatever your belief system is or however you feel like clarifying, whether you say, I have 2 kids on earth and 1 in heaven, or I have 3 kids, but 1 passed away, or you can, for me, I answer it based on who I'm talking to. So if I get asked randomly by somebody in the store and they're like, oh, your boys are so cute. Are these your only 2? And, or whatever, I'll just say, yeah, they are. Thanks. They're cute. And then carry on with my way. But if it's somebody that I'm meeting and we're going to be growing in a relationship, like somebody from church, so I'm going to see you over and over again. And they're like, why didn't you tell me you had another kid? Like, where is this kid? To avoid that awkwardness, I'll just flat out say, my son died. He is in heaven, and I have 2 kids here on earth. But again, it also might be based on where you're at. If you don't feel like becoming a blubbery mess in the middle of the grocery store, probably don't need to tell the random stranger that your son died or whatever. So I guess just plan ahead and think of a couple of quick answers. And that way, if somebody hits you with that and it's a trigger, then you don't end up being a blubbery mess in a grocery store. Speaking from experience.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
I know all about that one. And it depends on who you're with. Like, if I'm with my 6-year-old, my 6-year-old's going to tell you.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So.
And I love that about him. That was actually shocking for me. And I have a son that's died. One of the times we went to the parks, I remember, Stephanie and I take our kids to the park. So she's got 4 boys here on earth, and I have 2 boys here on earth. And we go to the parks, and her oldest is older than my oldest. And so they're used to talking about Joshua and their family. And my son is only 2.5. And so we haven't really talked about Mason that much. And I just love how open her oldest is about where Joshua is, and he still remembers him. And I think that's awesome. And like, oh, these are Mason's brothers. I was like, well, yes, they are. Thank you. Just want to point that out. Your kids are really cute.
I love it. Thanks.
Okay, so number 5, allow yourself to feel a range of emotions. The holidays can bring about a wide range of emotions. You might feel joy, guilt, and sadness all within a few minutes. Allow yourself to feel these emotions without judging yourself or thinking you should be happy or you shouldn't be laughing. This one really hits home for me as well. I remember the first time after my son died that I laughed, and I felt horrible because you go through this, the first week or 2 weeks or even month where literally you're just in this constant state of sadness and mourning, and like you're just crying all the time. Everything makes you cry. And I can't remember exactly what we were doing, but I think we were having a conversation. My husband and I were watching a show, and I laughed, and I was like it felt foreign, because I hadn't done it for so long, and it's so foreign that it made me stop. And I was like, how can I laugh? And it took me a while to realize that, it's okay. I can laugh and still miss my son at the same time. I can still feel joy and still remember him. And obviously, but I think I remember one of our groups we had, oh man, I can't remember his name, but he had gone through, do you remember he went through that grief support class and he wrote a book? And
Yeah.
anyways, he brought up the point that, you're taught that there's these 7 stages of grief and you're going to go through them like in this very linear thing, right? Like you're going to feel anger and, all these different things. And then it's done. Like you're magically cured of your grief. You just keep moving on with your life. But child loss is so not like that. Like that system of understanding your grief was designed for people who were dying of, was it cancer? Or they had lived a
It was
long
just anybody on hospice, because that's what I was taught in school.
Yeah,
For background, I went to school to be a grief counselor, and so that's what I was taught. You were taught those 7 steps, those 7 stages of grief, and that's just how it is. It's a whole different ball game when you lose a child.
yeah, it's all over the place. You're gonna feel
Yeah.
joy, and then 2 seconds later, you're gonna be a blubbery mess again, and that's just how it is. That's just what the triggers do, and that's okay. Allow yourself to feel those things because, like Stephanie said, she's a stuffer, and I'm an avoider, and so I will not cry when I need to, and then I'll just bottle it up, bottle up, bottle up, and then I just explode. And usually nobody's around to witness that, luckily, but it happens and
You in
it's
the car.
good. And it takes a lot longer to recover from that than it does to as you.
I remember the first time I laughed. We were on a walk as a family, and Ian must have done, my 6-year-old, well, he was 3 at the time. He must have done something, but I just remember I laughed out loud, and then like it hit me, and I took a deep breath, and just the tears started flowing, and it was just like that moment like took my breath away, like, oh my goodness, my child died and I'm laughing. How is that even possible? But during the holidays, that's going to come up a whole lot more. If
Yeah,
you're with family that you love, if you're even just at home and you're doing the same traditions that you're used to doing, um, you're going to, have those happy, comforting moments. But you're also going to have some really hard moments. You're going to have that first year without your baby there, and it sucks. And you're going to feel all of those feelings all at the same time.
yeah,
And I don't envy anybody that's doing that for the first time this year because it sucks. And it still sucks even 3 years afterwards. So know that we're thinking about you. Goodness, that's a hard one.
yeah. It sure is.
uh,
Sorry.
man. So we'll move on to number 6 before I start blubbing.
Me too.
All right. So number 6 is find a way to honor your memories. So create a special way to memorialize the person you've lost. Whether you decide to light a candle every night or eat your loved one's favorite food, honoring your loved one can serve as a tangible reminder that although your loved one is gone, the love never dies. So for us, we don't do this just on holidays. We do this every night. We put out a red plate. Joshua will always, always have a place at our table, no matter where we are. Um, Obviously, if we were with family, it might be a little awkward to be like, I brought my red plate. Um, but in our home, no matter whether we have guests over or not, Joshua has a chair and he has a red plate. That is something we do no matter what day it is, and no matter what meal it is. He's always welcome at our table. Um, we, for holidays, obviously, like Christmas, we'll do a stocking for him. And inside, we do a book for the boys from Joshua. And
Oh, I love
so
it.
yeah, we've gotten some good books for them. They usually have to do with grief. So we've gotten the I can't
Tear
remember what
soup.
it's called. We did Tear Soup. I got that one right after we lost him. But there's one called The Invisible String. That's for children.
Okay.
And then another one, I can't remember what it's called. A Hug from Heaven. So that's what they've gotten the last 2 years. And those are super good books geared towards children about a loved one that's passed away. And
That's good to
so that's what we do. Yeah. So they get a book from Joshua, and it's usually in his stocking. So that's something we do. Um, there's lots of things you can do. We can come up with ideas as a group in the comments later if you need ideas. But
yeah.
there's lots of stuff you can do to do that.
Yeah, and like I said, we did make ornaments as a group 1 year together. That was really cool.
Was
I had another thought, but oh, it made me think of pictures. So, like I was telling you about at Thanksgiving, it's always a big deal for my husband's side of the family, and we always got together and sat on the couch and took a picture together. And we, thank goodness, did not take a picture that Thanksgiving right after Mason died because I just kind of hoped that they would forget about it and just move on, and they did. Um, but then the next year, it was like the elephant in the room, like, are they going to ask to take a picture? And they did. And it was one of those things that, like, for weeks I had panicked about, waiting for that moment. And then it happened and it was fine. Like, it's taking a picture, right? But that made me think about what we do when we take like professional family photos, because I've gotten asked a lot, like, how do you, or when was the last time you took family pictures? Like, I dreaded taking new family pictures without my child because, they're not there and it's just gonna be too hard. And every single family picture that we have done since Mason's died, we've had some way of incorporating him in the photo, whether it's a picture of yellow is our color for our son. And so either my boys are wearing yellow or I'm wearing yellow in some way. And I think that's a great thing, because it goes back to the whole finding joy in your grief. You still need to focus on your family that's here and enjoy your life and love your kids and your family. And that means taking photos so you can remember those times. Because what are our most cherished things now of our kids that have died, right? They're photos. And God forbid, if anything ever happened to anybody else, if you have this time period where you didn't take any pictures, you're going to really regret that. And so take the pictures, find a way of including your child in them somehow. Doesn't even have to be obvious, like just wear a bracelet that reminds you of them or something like that. But in your heart that you had something representing and remembering your child. And I think that's a great thing you can do, whether it be this holiday season or just in the future. Just made me think of it. Can I get something?
sorry. I thought that locking my door would keep them from talking to me, but it's not working. For our family pictures, we always red was Joshua's. Hold on just a second. Philip, no, you cannot come in. So Joshua's color was red, and so our family always we're either wearing something with red. Um, well, usually there's always something red in the picture, but we also have his teddy bear that we use,
Yeah.
and um, our boys. Like if I do pictures with all of the boys, we have that one of them holding his hat. He wore a Lightning McQueen hat everywhere, and so somebody always has Lightning McQueen hat, and somebody's always holding the bear. Um, I have a friend who has a lantern in all of their family pictures, and it's just in an inconspicuous, I can't talk, inconspicuous spot wherever it is, where if
Oh,
they're
that's really
outside, the
cool. Yeah.
lantern's by their feet, but that represents Luke no matter what. And I thought that was a beautiful way of having that little light there, you know?
Yeah.
So
I love it when there's like a little prism of a rainbow that goes through pictures.
I like
That's
that
happened
too.
quite a few times in my photos. And I know Katana, has taken quite a few pictures where there's a rainbow in the background, and it's for her son, Taven. And I'm seeing your guys' comments that you're wearing, Christy, you wear your son's flannel shirt, and I think somebody just said they wear their kid's hat. That's great. I love that.
I love it. I love it.
So we're not reinventing the wheel, apparently, but let's see. Is it my turn to read one?
I think it is. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to 10, guys. We're on 7. We're almost there. So create new traditions. Don't be afraid to create new traditions in this year too. It's okay to get creative and do something a little out of the ordinary. You can also alter old traditions and make them fit better with the new phase in your life. So I offer no advice on this because I'm still stuck in the rut with family traditions. We don't really have, I mean, we obviously get together on Christmas and stuff, but as a family, like my husband, myself, and our 2 kids, Christmas really just sucks. Like we don't. I have no advice for this one. I don't have anything that we really do.
Our family
So.
actually started watching It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, okay. Yep,
Um,
I've seen that one.
that's a Christmas movie,
Hmm.
and we hadn't done that before, but we watched it the first year after losing Joshua, and it had so much more meaning, I think, for my husband, to be honest. Um, I mean, we all go through our struggles,
Yeah.
and that was a hard one for both of us. Everything was kind of rocky there for a bit, and so It's a Wonderful Life kind of brought our family together, and that's something that we look forward to now every year. So
That's
there's little
great.
things that you add in.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since I was probably in high school, and I don't really remember it, but I know it's a good one. So I doubt
It
my
is a
2 year
good
old and my
one.
1 year old would sit through it, but maybe my husband and I could watch it together.
There we go. All right. I love the next one. So, number 8 is to do something kind for others. So it says, even when you're in the midst of grief, you still have something to offer the world. Performing a few acts of kindness can be really good for a grieving person's spirit. Donate gifts to families in need, serve meals at a soup kitchen, or volunteer to help people at a nursing home. Make holiday crafts if you're up for it. So I am a huge proponent of service
Yes.
to help you heal. For me, if I am not out helping somebody, I get stuck in a rut. Like when I start feeling depression sinking in, I shoot to help somebody. That's how I heal. Bringing joy to someone else brings me joy. And so, especially around the holidays, there's plenty of opportunities to do good
Yeah.
and to, pay it forward. Um, my big hashtag right now is it's still a beautiful life. Even though we've been hit with some hard storms, it is still a beautiful life. Life is still worth living no matter what. Um, I talk about this with my kids all the time. As long as you have somebody loving you, as long as people still like you, life is still worth living. I had to tell Ian that today because he was complaining about something, and I was like, you know what? I don't care because I still like you. Life is still good. um, but as we get out and we show others that we still have love in our hearts, and we can give a little bit of ourselves, we find healing in bigger ways than you can imagine. I'm sure all of you have some kind of experience with that. The holidays is a perfect time to serve and just think about something other than yourself and how you're feeling. As you focus on someone else, you might find that healing that you're needing.
And along those same lines, part of our credo actually says that that we will lend our strength to you when we can, if you lend your strength to me when I need it. So I think that's huge. And Stephanie and I think have that kind of relationship where if she's struggling, she reaches out to me and vice versa because we are walking the same path. Ours are very, very similar. But even if your child is older or if you're new or you're, like I said, 10 years down the road in your grief and you just are struggling, then seek help. I mean, that's what we're here for. That's what our grief support group is for. So if you are having a particularly joyful day, post on the private group message or in the on the Facebook group because you never know who's going to need that and who's really, really struggling that day. And that is the light that they needed to keep going that day. Um, I think I'm probably the only person who really posts on the Facebook group. So if you find
Sorry.
something that is good, um, put it there and hopefully it'll brighten somebody's mood. But also, if you are struggling and there's something that makes you really sad, post that and maybe somebody who's having a good day could reach out to you in that moment as well. So that's what it's for. And
Yeah.
I know it's kind of confusing that we have like the Compassionate Friends public group and then we also have the private group. And the reason is because the private group is all people who we have confirmed are bereaved parents, siblings, or grandparents of somebody who has died, a child that's died. So feel free to be a little bit more personal in those comments, questions, whatever, because it's a safe place. So you don't feel like you are posting on the public page like this. There's only 50 people in that group as of tonight. I just checked, and they have all been pre-approved and have either been to a meeting before, or we know them, or have proven to us that they have lost a child. So that is a safe place. So please feel free to use that.
Yes, I will second that because we want you guys to be able to have that. It's available 24/7, and somebody's probably going to hop on and see it no matter what. And it's not just to talk about your grief. Like, if you want to talk about something good that happened, let us know. We're here to celebrate all of those things. We're here to help your hearts, and we're here to celebrate with you as well.
Yeah.
So use that. We're your biggest support group, and we're going to be your greatest cheerleaders as well. So,
And actually, that is right up to our next number, which is the last one. So it's number 9 is our last, and it's ask for help. So don't be afraid to ask for help when you're struggling with the holidays. Reminding loved ones that you're having a rough time may be enough, but you also may want to reach out for more support. Look for support groups or contact a professional counselor to help you deal with your grief in a healthy manner. So we kind of hit that one on the nose. Um, Ask us. And I just kind of had this like out of body thought, but whenever I see like a story of somebody else's child who died, obviously you've put yourself in their shoes because you've been there and you're like, oh man, I remember the first day, week, month, like that was really rough. And then what happens? You move on with your life and I don't want to say forget about them, but you move past their story. And I just had this thought like, well, that person is still there. Like they're still walking their grief path. Even though I'm focused back on my own life, they are still, in that spot. And so even though we ourselves have been there, I think it's really easy for us even to forget that those people's worlds are completely stopped. And so coming from now our family, like our distant family's point of view, like they leave the holiday party and they go back to their reality, right? Like they didn't lose a child, it's you. And while they were there, they probably are being supportive and were trying to remember your child with you, but then they go on with their life. So I guess what I was trying to say, I'm making circles now, but I guess don't be too hard on family members because it's easy for anybody to just keep living, I guess. And the holidays are hard for us, but they're not hard for everybody. And I guess, what am I trying to say, Stephanie? You know what I mean?
yeah. So be easy on them, be easy on yourself, but also realize that we're here and we understand. Um, so if you need a
Yeah.
vent, we're here to vent too.
Yes, exactly. So that was our last number there. Do you have any final words of wisdom?
I don't, not really, other than just we're here for you guys. We want you to know that, you are still loved. Life is still beautiful. Um, Even if it feels like it's all crashing down right now. Um, if this is your first year, our hearts are with you. Honestly, we understand. If there is any group of people that understands the pain that you feel, we come pretty close.
Yeah. I guess I'll just point out a couple of other things real quickly. I've put it in as many places as I can think of, and I'm trying to make sure everybody sees it. But so we're going to do at least 4 videos like this. So October, November, December, and January, a 4-part series, live videos. And then in January, hopefully, we will try to figure out if we can either start meeting again somewhere or outside, or if we're going to do some more videos. But in the meantime, I know there's people who came to the last, like the balloon release, and were kind of new members, and they were all amped up about meeting, and then we're like, oh, JK, we're not meeting live together. So if we don't get to meet in person, and you need to talk to somebody, and you want to be a part of like a Zoom meeting, there are some states that are allowing people from other states to join in on their Zoom meetings, is what I'm trying to say. So if you want to do that, let me know and I can get you hooked up with that information. Otherwise, like I said, there's lots of resources out there for phone calls, live chats, other private groups, that kind of thing. So I can't say it enough. Just find a way of communicating with somebody if you are struggling, and we will find somebody to help you. So just know that we're all there with you, and we'll try to get through through this together. I guess the last thing, I'll just kind of give you a heads up of the next month's video. So what is it? So in November, we're going to do how to be thankful while grieving. So kind of a right before Thanksgiving time. That one's probably be hard for me, just so you know. I'll bring a tissue this next time.
Me too.
All right.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you everybody that's watched and that will be watching. If you have comments, if you're watching a replay, will you put hashtag replay and then put your comments in so we can make sure to answer them? I think
Okay.
that's a little housekeeping.
Yeah.
But other than that, have a great night, guys, and we will see you next month. And be sure to post whenever you need help.
Okay. All right.
Bye, guys.
Good night, Stephanie.
Good night.